I'm probably about to lose my character again. I'm kind of stupid. I keep dying around like level 10 or so, but I'm gonna try again. I should probably stop doing this when I'm sleepy, but I'm stubborn. So here we are. Zoom, zoom. Let's go. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. What do I have mail for? Oh, I tried to sell things. They did not sell, did they? They did sell. Classic's fun. Alright, where am I going? We're gonna go to the Jasper Mines. I got my big broadsword made of cardboard. Wish you could play music. It's kind of a shame you can't. Or at least my YouTube videos and Twitch get like flagged. I felt so good. You wish I didn't feel so good. There we go. I'm level 7. Probably shouldn't fuck with those guys. I want that sword. That's a really good sword. Oh, bitches. Actually, that's true. Bitches, you guys are here. We're killing our air.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Doubler. I can't type for shit. It is what it is. This dude's guild name is Askaboma OF. I'm trying to recruit some people to kill a rare. Let's see. Oops. Is Cheech and Chong coming? Nope. Yeah, people like don't move. They're just like, nah. I join your party, but I want nothing to do with you. Come on, guy. Let's do something. Being boring. We going? No? The dude has not moved one direction toward us yet. But he's in town. Not doing shite. This guy drops like a lot of really good loot. Well, they're still in Goldshire. Dude's like, they're coming. They're totally coming. I guess I can craft bandages, I suppose. I mean, like, what else do I do? Told you. Guy's like, he's coming. He's totally coming. Or like, still hasn't left yet. Let's see. That's just who. Let's see. Let's try pickle. The guy said something in Chinese. Don't know what they said. Meow. Not a reply. Declined. Go. Let's see. Dang it. Perhaps later. Oh, now they came. Cool, we're about to kill him. I rolled 11. 61. Okay, this guy might be stupid. Okay. Alright. That's fun. Very, very scary, though. Very gassy. You know, take candle. Am I too low level to loot that? Yep. Being all sneaky beaky like. Trying to avoid a fight. You don't see me. You don't see me. I hear you. That's a dead end, isn't it? Yep. Fuck. I was hoping somebody had been here already and killed these guys. Damn, he sees me for fucking forever away. I'm about to fight, I think. Gonna hurt. Yep. It's not looking good. Alright. All I'll do is trigger that thing. I walk out of here, like, hey, yeah, there's bad guys here. Can I leave now? Come on, game. Come on. Really? Fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. Good news is I'm leveling my swords. Bad news is I suck. Did I finish it? I did. Time for me to get the fuck out of here. No, no. Yes. I'm max on swords now. Now I have to go to Camp Silver Lake and get destroyed by Barlocks. Because that's how this game works. Actually, not worth it. Not worth it. I don't want to fight anybody. Level 21 Paladin doing these quests now. It's wild. Maybe he would aggro those people so I can loot. No, no. Hi. Yep, I fucked up. I fucked up. I do so much damage with swords. Feels good, man. Gonna fight, Fido? Wait, how does a dog parry? I'm a sleepy panda. See a Murloc. See another Murloc. Hmm. Oh, this is good. Oh, that's shit. Oh, fuck yeah. Somebody died, dude. Dude did not make it. Can't really blame him dying here since the Murlocs are, Murlocs. Why are you running towards me, bitch? Nobody told you to come over here? Okay, gotta go. Oh no. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh no, are you serious? Am I gonna die? Oh my god! No! Murloc, please strike again. Let's make another rogue, I guess. Fuck. Got better. I gotta kill out some bullshit. Fuck! I'm gonna get really well optimized at this bullshit.
You need something?
I need to quit dying. That's bad.
Hey there. Have a good one. Well met. Go with honor, friend. For the Alliance.
Let's see.
Good day to you. What can I do for you? See you around. How are you?
I'm sad. How are you? I just got like a really decent sword too. It's so disappointing. I'm so butthurt.
I supply only the finest goods. Safe
Sorry, bro.
travels. Hello.
What can I do for you? Light bless you. Be careful. For the Alliance.
What can I do for you?
Hmm.
See you later. Safe travels.
You need something? Have a good one. For the Alliance. Be careful. Can I help you? See you around.
That might be a little bit butthurt. All this male bullshit. Trying to feel like a feminist. Excuse me. I'm gonna throw on like some conspiracy talk news shit. What's the website called?
King's honor, friend. Be careful. Go with honor, friend.
Welcome to the Grand Theft World podcast, hosted and sponsored by GrandTheftWorld.com and our members over there, because that's how we stay free of Soros, and it's how we stay in business, because without members, we can't afford to present you the show every week. All right, so this week, it's called The Corporate Death Penalty, and this week in Grand Theft World history, I couldn't think of a better title than They Can Put Corporations to Death. And if so, why are we starting with the Trump organization? Let's get the Bayer Monsanto, the people who've been poisoning us. Let's maybe round up some of those people. If we're going to, I just say we downstream them. Don't fight the corporate death penalty. Use it for those other corporations that need to maybe explore such persecutions, prosecutions, these sort of things. So in the Trump saga, you've got the corporate death penalty. We'll see if that actually affects, his organization. But they shut down the Trump organization, at least in New York, according to what a judge has said temporarily. And we'll see how this unfolds. Likewise, unfolding, the GOP, the Grand Old Party, they have called for the impeachment of former Vice President Joe Biden. And whether or not he still knows what impeachment is, or he thinks that's some sort of new breakfast cereal with the peaches in it, I'm not sure what's up over at the White House. I don't take politics too seriously, but I do like to keep up with the people who take our stolen money and use it to do all sorts of things. Speaking of which, we got other stories this week, like groups that we fund, like CDC and the World Health Organization, these sort of entities that were authoritative fixtures during COVID. They lied to us about a number of things. They lied to us about some mortality. They lied to us about giving it to mothers and it being safe and not getting into their breast milk. A whole bunch of this stuff is conveniently breaking now 3 years after these events happened. These types of facts were knowable back during the event that's going on, and those who got in the know, they got alive, and they got to be alive and still grow. That's the point. The knowledge allows people to take smarter actions and healthier actions in this case. And if you wait for the media to tell you what's going on, they might tell you the truth, but it might be 4 years past the decision-making point, and you might not be so safe anymore. Likewise, Fauci, he didn't just help, cover it up. He had to go over to the CIA. Now, last week we covered where the CIA bribed a bunch of analysts to come up with a not lab leak conclusion. Fauci had to go over to the CIA and have that talk too. So there's a little bit more collusion between the Eco Health Alliance, the Peter Daszak, the CIA, and the Fauci. We're going to get into stories like that. Also, this WHO pandemic treaty is coming soon, and it only came around because of COVID. And if they were lying to us about COVID, then their rationale, their motives for putting in this pandemic treaty might also be exposed a little bit sooner than they wanted. And I think people need to see it's not about safe and effective or keeping you healthy or any of this types of stuff. It's a way to circumvent your constitutional rights and bring in type of totalitarian and despotic government that seems like it's following the rules because they're using the rules to take away your freedom. You're not going to like it. It's not it seems like they're following the rules. Last but not least, we've got the World Economic Forum. They're already putting bugs in your food. Don't wait and eat it. You don't have to wait for the crickets to come out in the box. They're grinding these up and they're putting in your flour. They're putting in your corn chips. So you got to start to look at these organic, sustainable stickers and labels at your grocery store, because that might not be the food you're paying for, or you're paying for food that you don't think maybe is food if they actually explained it on the label to you. But they're hiding these sort of things, and anytime they're taking actions and they're hiding it, it tells me they know what they're doing is wrong, and they're depending on us and our ignorance to help them do this wrong. So if we don't provide that ignorance, they can't do much wrong in the world. And last but not least, you heard it on the show a couple years ago, or at least back when the Ukraine war started, but now it's known NATO started it. Russia didn't start the war. NATO was expanding. And now
Shit,
they've
they're
admitted
fucking
it.
aggressors.
So World War II pops off. Don't let anyone tell you it's Putin. He's not a good guy, but these other people are encroaching and putting him in a position so he'll fight back, so they can artificially create a war. And you know who's getting hurt by it?
Everybody.
People in Ukraine. In fact, Ukraine is out of male soldiers, so they now have a draft making it mandatory, required for women ages 18 to 60. That's not a good situation for that country.
Getting slaughtered.
And they've been used by prophylactic by NATO long enough. And I think it's time for people in America to wise up, stop funding that situation, stop putting our flag and our name all over that situation, and let those people be in peace. Because without NATO, they wouldn't be at war with Russia right now. But we're going to learn that and a whole lot more. Let's kick it off tonight with Luke Radowski from WeAreChange.org and BestPoliticalShirts.com. Let's get his report from earlier today, and then we're going to do a deep dive through the next several hours.
Do we need men? Do we need men?
Honestly, no.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because they suck.
I think someone should do a scientific experiment where they take a bunch of women and a bunch of men and leave them on a deserted island and see what happens. And yeah, that actually happened a couple times, and the findings were very interesting, to say the least. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of just absolute lunacy happening in this world right now, as of course chaos is the new norm, as there's a lot of political disarray in our current establishment as the shutdown has been prolonged for 45 days. Yes, we gotta wait 45 more days until hopefully the government shuts down, as of course there's a lot of very interesting things happening with Ukraine and a lot of other things behind the scenes that we are going to be talking about in this independent media broadcast, highlighting all the news that you're not supposed to know today. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was originally highlighted at Clown World on Twitter. I don't know who made this original clip, but it is very thought-provoking, to say the least, as, of course, the statistics don't lie. The subliminal subconscious psyops in Hollywood and the TVs, movies, and commercials do lie all the time, and they set a perception of men as weak, stupid, fat idiots, and people need to be told that's not the true perspective of our current reality, but that's the goal that they want to, of course, herd you into. So yeah, if you're a man, don't let them win. Go out there, touch some grass, do some squats, do some push-ups, go for a sprint, work on your testosterone, and hell, take the 50 cal Barrett and let it rip a bunch of times, because you know what? Why not? Celebrate your masculinity, as of course it's something that you should not be ashamed of. All of this as Elon Musk currently is being attacked for using a well-known self-defense weapon for fun. This, as the Daily Mail is reporting, that he is, quote, infuriating liberals with the viral video of him firing a 50 BMG 29-inch barreled sporting rifle that, of course, he had a lot of fun shooting. Since shooting is also really fun. If you haven't done it yet, I definitely recommend taking a training course and trying it out. This is, of course, another person who is infuriating the liberals and has been the targets of many smear attacks, hit pieces, and coordinated personal attacks. We have the news that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning to announce that he is going to be running as an independent
I'm gonna vote for him.
upcoming 2024 presidential election, which of course shakes things up, as he was originally planning to run as a Democrat. But according to Mediaite, he will be announcing his independent run on October 9th in Pennsylvania, as it looks like the Democratic National Committee was able to push him out from having any kind of referendum, any kind of political voice here, as of course a lot of
Alright, dude.
aren't
Whatever.
happy with Joe Biden as their nominee, and our
What a dick.
figure has been getting a lot of traction. His poll numbers have been going up, and him running now as an independent definitely throws another wrench into the very complicated 2024 presidential election that is filled with a lot of shenanigans. And in related shenanigans news, we have Socialist Democratic Congressmember Jamal Bowman in hot water after he pulled a fire alarm, allegedly to delay a vote on the GOP Stop and Spending bill, as a photo came out of him clearly interrupting government proceedings. And we know the Democrats, the prosecutors in Washington, D.C., really do not like you interrupting government proceedings, as this photo in the Cannon building clearly shows the Democratic Congress member violating the law, pulling an alarm, wasting costful resources of Washington, D.C. for, of course, political purposes, as a new video surfaced from the incident highlighting this right after the fire alarm pulling.
What are you doing?
And that, of course, is the real security footage of exactly what happened. That's, of course, the real security footage is being kept away from the general public, as they're still trying to make sense of this entire incident, as it looks like Jamal Bowman is going to get away from this entire debacle scot-free, mainly because he's a Democrat who's above the law, as he just issued a statement saying that he accidentally pulled the fire alarm, since, you know, no one really knows what a fire alarm looks like, and you know,
Commentary.
that specific red, huge lever that you have to activate in more ways than one, that clearly says fire alarm on it, clearly is very confusing to a man who purports to represent his constituents and can't tell the difference between that and the doorknob. As he said, quote, "I came to a door that is usually open for votes, but today would not open. I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm mistakenly, thinking it would open the door." Yeah. Oh, yeah. Makes sense, totally. And if you believe that, I have a fridge to sell you, but I'm not selling bridges. I'm selling t-shirts on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. As, of course, we continue this show with a viral video that's making its way around the internet today that I think is worth starting off this topic.
I'm thinking of quitting a job that I love because I work to live. I wish that I could just have a job and do my job and go to work every day, and it would just pay for life. It would pay for a roof over my head, it would pay for food on my table, it would pay for medical bills, it would pay enough for me to save money so I could retire one day, you know, like basic things that we were told to pursue in life and that we would have if we had a job. But that's not the case at all. Like, if I were to stay at the job that I have, I will never buy a home. Like, I currently don't save any money. I won't be able to save. 47% of my income goes to rent currently, which is just so unsustainable.
But don't worry, Karen, as you struggle to survive, Big Pharma
Mr.
and the
Bingle, no.
industrial complex
No, I'm not joining that guild.
well, and they're going to be doing a lot better after we have the continued escalation and continuation of the proxy war in Ukraine that has reached such a desperate measure where now a new law has gone into effect in Ukraine that sets up the women in that country for military registration and service, an obligation that
Slaughter.
applies to all Ukrainian women aged 18 to 60 in that country right now, as of course most of the good men in that country have lost their lives for this larger geopolitical saber-rattling power move that the United States is conducting and using Ukraine to make, of course, against Russia. As still, we do not know the huge life loss that was already rendered inside of that country, as of course the situation there is tragic, as many Western leaders, especially within the Biden administration, look to continue that war by, of course, financing it. This as anyone opposing it and trying to save the lives of Ukrainians and all the innocent life loss are being accused of being, quote, Russian apologists, when of course that's not the case here at all, as U.S. Republicans are being attacked for, quote, citing Putin for not daring to fill the coffers of the military-industrial complex when our citizens are struggling to survive. As one of the most popular Reddit posts was, this specific one that you're seeing on screen, criticizing the Republicans for trying to prevent the further life loss in Ukraine, as right now there is a current battle within Washington, D.C. about funding for the U.S. government. The U.S. government was about to run out of funds. Congress and the politicians in Washington, D.C. have agreed to an extension for 45 days. A part of that extension involved negotiations to where the money the U.S. government is printing and borrowing out of thin air is going to be going to. As the Associated Press reported that Ukrainian aid is dropped from the government funding bill, as there is a question about further U.S. support of this larger proxy war. This as the White House is announcing that it is prepared to fight, as we're hearing from U.S. Congressmember Matt Gaetz that the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, actually worked out a deal where funding for Ukraine will still be on the table, even though the Associated Press and other media organizations are reporting that it is not. Because of this, Matt Gaetz right now is bringing up a motion to Congress to vacate the Speaker of the House,
And he did.
McCarthy, this week, which of course most likely will not pass, but symbolically
Oh, it passed.
gesture against the larger displeasures against the current regime and establishment that is literally indebting and destroying this economy for the special interest of this country that of course profit off of debt. This, as of course the problem in Ukraine is onefold, as there are a lot of very hot geopolitical conflict zones in the world right now, particularly in Azerbaijan, in Armenia, also in Serbia and Kosovo, as the United States is now telling Serbia to withdraw its military deployment along the Kosovo border, as the Serbian army just moved their military hardware further closer to the Kosovo border. This conflict also, of course, involves Russia, so does the one in Azerbaijan, as we have to understand here, the pain and suffering that is being put on the Ukrainians, particularly now the women, the pain and suffering that is being put on Americans, is being done by irresponsible politicians printing money out of thin air and saying, hey, we're just going to give it to these people to bomb and kill each other, which is a dumb idea.
I don't like using the word wicked, but they're
It
wicked
is a dumb
people.
idea. And first off, can we talk about this Biden situation for a second? Like, he was the most popular
Is that a player?
elected president.
Dude
ever.
died there.
He's not running
Damn.
for a second term. What's going on? What's going on with that? You know, just seems a little weird. And then Jamal pulling the fire alarm. Look, we've all been in the school system. We've been in commercial buildings. Everybody knows what a fire alarm
Hey, you
is.
tried, you bitch.
Everybody knows how to pull a fire alarm. Has anybody ever seen anybody pull a fire alarm?
Why are you trying to steal my kills, bro?
Is that a thing?
Fucking
That you
weird.
think about? Like, does that go on out there? Because he says
What a
he
dick.
accidentally pulled the fire alarm thinking he would open the door. You had to know that was a fire alarm. So you had to pull the fire alarm purposefully, thinking that the door's unlocked with the fire alarm. That might make sense, but that's not what his statement said. So there's these little inconsistencies going on with that situation that I think, I mean, if you look at it on the surface, there's a big vote. They're not probably going to win that vote. He wants to delay the vote. Pull the fire alarm, delays the vote. But isn't that also an insurrection against the way the government works? Shouldn't they January 6th him and put him in prison for 20 years?
Yeah, they should.
Isn't that the typical thing that would happen if he was on the other side of the political spectrum, Tony?
But yeah, with a misdemeanor charge, Owen Schroyer's going to jail for what, a month, 2 months, something like that. And of course, the number of individuals. I mean, he's that's not even comparable to those that actually got charged for, you know, being a part of the January 6th events. I'm just going to call them that, and getting, you know, 10, 20 years. They already locked up in solitary confinement for the past two and a half years, for the most part, or something similar to that, in extreme isolation, and with little representation in regards to what was going on with them, in regards to quality of care, and without any sort of I'm trying to think due process of law, but there's this one very specific. I forget. Oh, it's a law terminology. I'm gonna space on it, but basically, what they get them to do is uh, to this whole plea bargain situation where they trump up these massive charges, and then they're like, look, well, it won't be as bad as this if you agree to saying you're culpable for this. And I think there's a terminology they use for it. It's escaping me right now, but
Oh, there's a
that's
word for
how
it.
they sort of got many of these individuals to go ahead and say, sure, I'm guilty, and sort of sign their life away in that regard. And it's unfortunate, but not surprising, the way in which lawyers and judges can manipulate those individuals to make them
and
feel
extract confessions to things they
confessions,
shouldn't do.
It's like a mafia.
So the premier cinematic resource on such things, in my humble opinion, would be
Oh, that's an old one.
In the Name of the Father with Daniel Day-Lewis. And I remember seeing that movie in college and being so shocked because I had no idea about the British having a thing with the Irish. And all I could see as a college student was white English-speaking people versus white English-speaking people in a civil war with military in the streets and bombs blowing up and all sorts of... I'm like, where was this in my education? Why do I not know about any of this? And when you go into those... the middle of the movie where they're trying to extract false confessions from all of them, you get to see a lot of the different tactics. And this is a British movie. They made it about themselves. So when they're showing you this, just like when they show you how they killed Steve Biko in the movie Cry Freedom, when the British are showing what they did to somebody, I'm going to trust it was probably worse than what they're willing to tell us in the film, and that they're taking a little artistic license to give themselves plausible deniability or make it softer than what it was. And then in the harsh reality, those tortures and brutalizations were even worse than what they're willing to depict in movies. Like Gandhi, right? Like they make all the movies about the people who oppressed them or like stood up against them and they crushed.
Yeah, and they to your point, they sort of do this sort of like mea culpa, like, oh, our bad, like we're definitely
100 years later,
guilty.
yeah, we'll make a movie, make them look
but they
good.
always whitewash it. They talk about elements that were maybe sort of uncouth or unscrupulous, but not as egregious in the scope when you look at the actual history. So they'll highlight some peripherally, immoral actions. But when that's like the tip of the iceberg of the actions that they don't comment on. And that's what's so interesting and tragic about the situation with those whitewashed films that sort of propagandize the history in an anachronistic fashion.
And that's a fascinating just slice right there, because I wouldn't know about Steve Biko if the people who killed him and tortured him had made movies about it, right? It's like snuff films, but like there's time removed, so it's not a snuff film. Gandhi.
It's sort of like a
How
trophy
much do we learn about
for
Gandhi
those
in this
people.
country? But if they didn't make a movie, those Brits make a movie about this upstart Gandhi,
Wait, what?
we wouldn't know about it in our culture for the most part. And then the same way with Giuseppe Conlon from In the Name of the Father. My name's Jerry Conlon, and my father Giuseppe Conlon's an innocent man, and he fucking died in the prison. Right, that whole thing he does at the end, I was like, oh, she's the reporter, and she's going to get the news out there. And eventually, 20 years later, they made a movie. How about we do that stuff more real time? How about
to me, it sounds like ritualistic moral posturing. And so, like, it's their way to build up a sort of straw man that, like, oh, look, we did some bad things, but it's not...
They're better now.
We're better now. We learned and grew from it as a result of this. And again, when we looked at that history, that's the tip of the iceberg of the type of immoral actions that were actually going on. So that's,
was there a dip person here?
It's so superficial and highly propagandized. But
so, since there is a deep state and they do control it, I would say that those tendencies, techniques trickle down to our J6 type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The scales of justice not working so well these days.
And found the terminology. It's called a trial tax. Basically, a trial tax is an increase in punishment from the last plea bargain offered, representing a quote-unquote tax to reflect the extra cost imposed on the judicial system for pulling 14 people, 12 jurors and 2 alternates from their jobs for the duration of the trial, and imposing extra work on the court staff for rejecting the last plea bargain. So it's not quite, it's sort of similar to what I mentioned, but in this case it has to do with the cost to the courts if you don't take the original plea deal. So that's one of the ways in which you get people to confess to things they did not do. But there's another video, this was 10 years ago, when I was first met you and we were starting working together. As this very astute, very intelligent black lawyer talking about history of why people confess to things they don't do. I can't remember it. I remember we passed it around, 10, 12, something years ago. but it's really interesting how people sort of gaslight themselves, or the way in which the lawyers will create confabulations. That's where there's always gaps in memory, where they actually talk people into filling in their own gaps in those memory holes, so to speak, where they, insinuate culpability for something that never took place. I'd have to go back, and I probably have it saved in my old hard drives, but this reminded me of that. Like, this is a phenomenon that's been going, or phenomenon, I really should say, because multiple instances of
Fucking dodged.
and from the psychology of the sort of the courts and witnesses and testimony,
You're
it's been
saying
a
because
well-known
they play
phenomenon.
that game every day, they know the rules better than someone that just innocently got caught up in it?
Well, then they know how
Yeah.
to psychologically manipulate people into getting the result they want,
might be
especially
right.
when you pressure individuals how much they are willing to make up memories that don't exist under that pressure.
Sure. And I forget what that term's called, but I do know this is one of the techniques.
Read technique, yeah.
Right? The Reid technique, REID, is a method of interrogation. The system was developed in the United States by John Reid in the 1950s. Reid was a polygraph expert and former Chicago police officer. So if you get down to the process, there's 9 steps: positive confrontation, try to shift the blame away, try to minimize. At this point, the accused will often give a reason why they didn't commit the crime, reinforce sincerity to ensure the suspect is receptive, right? So their whole process of extracting truth is a process of deception, which I always find is interesting. So, yeah, and there's many more things like that. So you should be aware that those things exist. Some people try to use them sometimes when you're not guilty. And that's what In the Name of the Father as a film brought to American audiences. And you have to also wonder, is it like, do they make those films just to propagandize their people? Is it accidental? We also speak the same language here? And more people in America watch these films than, I'm just saying. Might be something there in the way of psychological conditioning, preparing the environment for future activities, and so on and so forth. What about Mandela? Didn't Cecil Rhodes create South Africa that later had apartheid and put Mandela in prison?
Right.
And then they made a movie.
Another person died.
That's a cycle. Might take 100 years, might take 30, 40 years, but they do that on the regular. Just note that.
Steve Biko, Chengi Raghavan. I don't know if you remember him. Obviously.
I got a couple of YouTube interviews that have never seen the light of day on Grand Theft World. I asked him that one question, like, what's the American flag?
Political prisoners, South Africa.
Yeah, and he got exiled. So he wasn't just a political prisoner and mentor to Steve Biko, but he also got exiled. And then he found his way into graduate Oxford and Cambridge with numerous degrees. So he became an expert in the system of oppression that he suffered under as a kid. And he moved back to South Africa.
Did he?
Yeah. I haven't talked to him in a couple years, but I should should find some of those clips, and maybe we'll play one for intermission tonight. That could be juicy. And then we have so we have a guest tonight, Texas Slim, and then we have a guest that's going to come before Texas Slim, because it's a buddy of mine. He shot this footage. He sent me some footage. I looked at it. I was like, "Did you shoot this? Did you edit this? Because if so, I need you to come explain this to my audience. What's going on here?"
Oh, what the fuck?
It's very compelling, and I think we should start covering the stories that tie into that. And then by the time he gets here, we'll cover some stories and play his clip, and then we'll understand what to talk about, right? That's the way I figure it. So let's look at, say, CDC clips or Fauci clips or stuff to do with the Wuhan clips, because that's what it has to do. My buddy Kevin, his clip has to do with vaccine-injured people.
Oh, shit.
And I'm always a little skeptical, like, what's the claim going to be? I found these claims to be very credible. I found these people to be very honest and forthright, and I empathized and sympathized with them. And I think you will too, and that's a good piece of media for people to share. Also, this is what I was going to draw attention to earlier. Let's look at this. Before the show, 27 minutes ago, half hour ago, right? So everyone who's ever going to see this tweet has seen it, right? I got 1 retweet, and I got 3 likes now. I had 2 when I looked a couple minutes ago. If we want this show to exist, we're going to have to start sharing it, because I don't have reach on Twitter anymore. I used to be able to, get my tweets in front of people, but I don't know if it's the algorithm or they just don't like me, but yeah. Let's like and share where you're seeing it. Because that's the way we keep going. We got to grow the audience. We got to like and share. I think that's the way to go. Like and share if you care. I'm going to have to start saying stuff like that now. Didn't want to be that guy, but that's not encouraging. Right? There's 13,000 followers.
Yeah, I mean, is there a way to manipulate the algorithm? Can we set up dummy accounts?
Why don't you buy
That's not
advertisements?
the way to go.
Trump.
Let's
Buy
just,
advertisements,
let's
dude.
just like and share. I think that'll work.
Get other
If we
people
just-
who have, good rapport with X to see if they're willing to share before they get downranked and shadow banned. We have Russell Brand. We have Greg.
Hello,
Reese,
girl.
We have
Hi.
Jimmy Dore. Those are the three I have talking about that situation in regards to the CDC. The Russell Brand clip's about CDC.
Hello, sweetheart.
women,
Hi.
Breastfeeding. I think the Greg Reese is about Naomi Wolf and the FOIA requests, knowing that
Okay, let me just a second, little
CDC
lady.
government knew.
Yeah, they knew it
about
was killing
vaccine.
people when they were handing it out in the first place.
Right.
Oh,
because
little
of-
girl.
All right,
and
let's
there's,
do.
the Jimmy Dore clip, which is about CIA bribed agent to cover up lab leak.
All
Which
right,
is-
I got the link. I'm gonna give it to LD. He's got it there. We're gonna go with Russell Brand
Hi, sweetheart.
because he stopped being distracted and started being productive again, right? In his case, a good defense is a great offense. So instead of worrying about these things that they say that he can't control, he's like, "Hey, did you know that they were lying to you all along, and they were injecting pregnant moms and getting it into the newborns and like doing all this stuff, and they knew they were doing it, which is not only unethical, but I mean that's borderline psychopathic. And if you're in a line of work that gets you to do that without even
That's
thinking,
not borderline. That just is psychopathy. That's just
Yeah.
evil on a level that's hard to. Because there's so many layers of abstraction, people in positions of power rationalize as though it's the greater good.
yeah,
The sort of stigma of
their
that.
idea of the greater good. I don't know where that's a public school idea because that's not
It's
like,
one of the greatest ethical, philosophical corruptions in history that is reared its ugly head more than many times from ancient time up until now. In regards to a justification for why people who would never do this, if they had a direct cause and effect relationship with what is happening, but through layers of abstraction, rationalize and justify what they're doing. This is why people invent all sorts of crazy philosophies and abstractions such as this. But as long as they don't have to see it in front of them, as long as they don't feel as though they're the one directly part of the causation of that,
right.
they can let it go. It's sort of a cremation of care, but through a philosophical way or means.
Yeah. And so we've gone from founding fathers who wouldn't tolerate a 3-cent tax on their breakfast beverage to now people just like bending over and saying, "Give it to me and I'll take it," to keep my job, to do whatever. And I feel sorry for everyone who had to do that. But I also want people to know for next time, you probably don't have to do that. There are other choices and options, but they're not going to easily present them to you, and they're going to gaslight you and say, "No, this is the only way. This is the only way." They make exceptions for themselves and their families because they knew this stuff up front. There's a whole bunch to it. So
But
let's
the difference
just,
with the
yeah.
founding fathers is they were much more independent peoples, whereas today everyone's hyper stratified and specialized, so it's much more difficult to exit the system. So people
Yeah,
are
the
much
Prussian
more
PhD
dependent.
system gives
That's why
everyone
you have a course
stovepipe
called autonomy.
experts that
That's
are
why
ignorant and everything else, instead of like Renaissance men type people who are like, "I can learn that if I don't know how to do it."
Or
right?
people who just own a piece of land and farm it and learn how to work with their local community and share resources. Like that's long since been gone. And that's why you teach a course on autonomy, or called autonomy, in order to reinvigorate that sense of independence in people, and for people to actualize their own natural talents and present it to the market, so they don't have to be subservient to a big corporation or a specific job that's going to mandate that they get certain procedures done to them against their will.
The slaves are okay with it. The prisoners are not. The prisoners are always trying to escape, and autonomy is made for prisoners. We make tools for prisoners to escape. That sounds cool. Maybe we should market like that.
So we get a Rockhammer.
Yeah, I'm going to go in the garage and get one right now. All right, so let's go to Russell Brand. He's going to tell us a little something, then we're going to learn a little something else, and then we're going to learn something big in about 20 minutes. So let's roll.
Did the US government and the CDC have enough evidence that mRNA vaccines were safe for
No.
breastfeeding women before recommending them? And did Facebook censor accurate information questioning that ethic? Look, why are you asking so many questions? Why don't you follow the science? Not that science, that science. Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining us on our voyage to truth and freedom, and what a voyage it is. Thank you so much for supporting us here. Remember, click the red button if you want to support us further, if it's a possibility for you, and follow us on Rumble. It would be incredibly helpful if you could do that. Now, during the pandemic and at its height, many people were questioning the efficacy of vaccines and the plausibility of them being safe for breastfeeding and indeed pregnant women, because how would you ever accurately clinically trial that? Now, at the time, it was very difficult difficult to have those conversations because of online censorship of true information, because of experts who had concerns and questions being censored, shut down, deplatformed, ignored. Extraordinary things went on during that period. It's only a couple of years ago. Let's not forget how that went down. Now, new evidence has emerged that suggests that we were right to have those lines of inquiry. Let's have a look at the story now with a little
weird
more
lag.
detail and see whether or not due process was undertaken by the CDC and American government before recommending mRNA vaccines, and whether or not Facebook did indeed censor legitimate, truthful, and helpful information.
Today, the CDC urged all pregnant women to get vaccinated.
Tonight, there's new guidance, the strongest yet, from the CDC urging women who are pregnant or plan to become pregnant to get the vaccine.
Some official recommendation from the CDC.
A continuation, because last week we heard the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine and ACOG issued their strong recommendations. Now we're hearing from the CDC about the importance of this vulnerable population, recommending vaccination. This is based on new data, so no increased risks to be vaccinated while pregnant. It is
Jesus Christ.
why we're hearing all our professional organizations recommend imploring women in all 3 trimesters who are considering being pregnant or breastfeeding, get vaccinated. It couldn't be more clear. Correct. Thank you very much, Dr. Jen.
Couldn't be more clear. Concerted effort to convey one particular message without dissent, without inquiry, and propose it as science or fact. Let's have a look at some additional information that might help us to review the level of certainty and confidence we just witnessed from the legacy media. This piece is written by Alex Gutentag on Public. It is safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women to get vaccinated against COVID-19 according to the Centers for Disease Control. In fact, according to the CDC, vaccination during pregnancy benefits the baby. And reports have shown that breastfeeding people
That was crazy, right? Just listen to it.
COVID-19 vaccines have antibodies in their breast milk which could help protect their babies. So not only is it not dangerous, it's actually beneficial, with the vaccine trickling down through the generations like economic opportunity in an indefatigable capitalist system. The CDC wasn't alone. The American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology repeatedly urged pregnant and breastfeeding women to get vaccinated. There's no reason to worry, experts said, because injected mRNA stays in the arm and does not travel around the body. Oh dear, it doesn't find its way to the heart at all? It is the vaccine lipid would enter the bloodstream and reach breast tissue, the Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine assured mothers in a statement on the 14th of December 2020. If it does, it's even less likely that either the intact nanoparticle or mRNA transfer into milk. But now a pivotal new study reveals that this was always a lie. I'm curious how sometimes your intuition, your memory, and your perception and understanding of reality had already kind of informed you that there would be risks when a novel, to some degree experimental type of vaccine was being used across a population, that there would be perhaps additional complexity when it came to breastfeeding mothers or pregnant women that perhaps required further scrutiny. In the same way that we've subsequently learned that conversations around natural immunity were repressed, or vitamin B, or potential resolutions and solutions to COVID-19 that did not follow the prescribed course, we now know that some of those conversations were pressed and were controlled. Now it seems that this, one of the most sensitive aspects, one of the areas where the vulnerability is much more costly, is also being reviewed. The study, Biodistribution of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines in human breast milk, found that trace amounts of mRNA were detected in 10 out of 13 lactating women in a 45-hour period after vaccination. Our findings demonstrate that the COVID-19 vaccine mRNA is not confined to the injection site, but spreads systematically, the authors wrote. The study confirms previous results published in the Journal of the American Medical Association Pediatrics last year. The 2022 paper, Detection of Messenger RNA COVID-19 Vaccines in Human Breast Milk, found trace mRNA amounts in 7 samples from 11 lactating women. Crucially, the new Lancet study concedes that mRNA vaccines do not stay in the arm. Initially, it was thought that the vaccine mRNA encapsulated in the NLPs, lipid nanoparticles, would remain localized at the injection site.
I don't know why they think that.
Write the authors. However, several reports suggest that the NLPs mRNA can enter the blood bloodstream and accumulate in distant tissues. The authors further explain how vaccine mRNA is carried to mammary glands. For lactating mothers receiving the vaccine, our results suggest that the vaccine NLPs will reach the breast tissue, they write. Despite being excluded from the main vaccine trials, many pregnant and breastfeeding women were mandated to get vaccinated in accordance with CDC guidance. Does it not seem extraordinary to you that CDC
Fucking
guidance,
evil.
as well as the media parroting this consistent message, did not have access to, and indeed the trials were not even undertaken, that could demonstrate the possible dangers or inconsistencies with that messaging? Does it not seem troubling to you that at that time, just a few short years ago, conversation was literally closed down, that there was uniform messaging both in legacy media and on certain social media sites, where censorship was routinely undertaken, where deep state officials with direct contacts to some of these agencies were willing to censor, control, shut down and purge true information simply because it was inconvenient? Does this single story not demonstrate the necessity of absolutely questioning this type of information? The obvious intention to cleanse, control and dominate the media space in order to prevent reasonable conversations from taking place, experts with valid opinions being heard. It seems to me extraordinary. This is just a couple of years ago. And what we're talking about now, symbolically, significantly, are mothers. The sort of symbol, really, of the continuation of our species, the, in a sense, epicenter of many of our value systems. It seems casually unconscious that such a thing would be disregarded in this manner, but not at all surprising when we look at how the media has behaved regarding this issue and many others. The Lancet study demonstrates just how irresponsible and reckless the CDC's recommendations were. Now, we can't continue to bring you this content without your support and without the support of our sponsors. We are so grateful for your ongoing support, and we're grateful for the support of our sponsors. Now, do you know that the IRS October 15th tax said former back to this complicated story. CDC encourages all pregnant people or people who are thinking about becoming pregnant and those breastfeeding to get vaccinated to protect themselves from COVID-19, said former CDC
Which makes no sense.
Dr. Rochelle Walensky in August 2021. Walensky made her recommendation based not on science but on faith alone. Oh my God, that's so extraordinary, isn't it? When you think how malign and neglected faith is, when you think how God or a belief in values and principles is regarded as sort of some kind of hokey crackpot superstition, and faith-based decisions were being made on the basis, or pretense at least, of science. Continually people just chatting to their mates, what are you going to do? Or we'll do the same thing then.
Are you going to let them have professional football? Nope. And she's like, okay, neither are we.
Science just operated, I believe, for much of this period as a kind of new orthodoxy to shut down opposition. It functioned in the same way that a medieval use of theology might have done. If you question this, you are a heretic. If you oppose these views, there's something morally wrong with you. It just seems astonishing to me that this information continues to leak out like breast milk. At that time, Pfizer and Moderna had not completed trials on pregnant women. Behind the scenes in 2021, reports journalist Marianne DeMasi, Pfizer was scrambling to conduct a clinical trial of its vaccine in pregnant women. To this day, Pfizer data on pregnant and breastfeeding women is still incomplete and has yet to appear in a peer-reviewed journal or preprint, and has not been submitted to the FDA for evaluation. Moderna's trial is also ongoing and the company has not released its data. So as of today, there is no clinical trial data available. So what was this we were watching on the mainstream news? Absolutely, it's crystal clear. Every single channel saying the same thing. Opposition censored, no clinical trial data. And what was the refrain? What was the rhetoric? Follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. What science? It was essentially wishful thinking, authoritarianism, preferences, politicized. It was at odds with science at almost every step. And the people that questioned that were regarded as kind of crackpots, heretics, and, as you know, conspiracy theorists. DeMasi reports that Pfizer's trial had major design flaws that would corrupt the data. Peculiarly, notes DeMasi, Pfizer planned to vaccinate all the mothers in the placebo group 1 month after giving birth to their babies, effectively getting rid of their control group. Well, that doesn't seem very controlled. Well, it does seem controlled. It seems contrived. It seems like eliminating the possibility that there would be a group available to show a lack of complexity. I mean, why would you do that? That seems like an odd anomaly. I don't want to come across as a conspiracy theorist, but one might sense nefarious intention in such an action. Regulators also allowed Pfizer to significantly reduce the number of women in the trial. For this reason, we may never know the true results of the company's study on pregnant women. Certainly if we do find out, it will be an accident. It certainly won't be because of transparency, clarity, honesty and integrity. It will be freedom of information requests. It will be people knocking on the door demanding, can we have access to that data? Oh, give us 75 years, will you? Also, we're not sure what happened to JFK yet, but this bullet sure got around. Proponents of vaccine mandates may argue that none of this matters because there have not been adverse events in breastfeeding children. But one of Pfizer's own post-marketing surveillance reports contradicts this assertion. Due to legal action, the FDA was forced to release the report last year. It showed that in 133 cases of breastfeeding babies tracked down by the company, 17 experienced clinical adverse events, and 3 of these events were reported to be serious. So that's some more information that challenges the legacy media narrative. Another Pfizer document released by the FDA under court order found that there were 215 cases of exposure via
damn, this big strong as fuck.
during breastfeeding reported to Pfizer's voluntary pharmacovigilance database. Of these, 41 infants experienced adverse events and 6 experienced serious adverse events. Rather troubling. Many may correctly point out that none of this data is complete or conclusive, but that is precisely the problem. Yes, it's difficult, isn't it? Because there is no precise or conclusive information being offered because conversation keeps being shut down. Dissenting voices keep being censored. Legitimate experts who are offering alternative views are being shut down, silenced, shadow banned, whatever resources are available. That does not inspire a great deal of confidence, does it? Let me know in the chat. Millions of women were compelled to get multiple doses of the mRNA vaccines under threat of losing their jobs, and in some cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago and New York City, being excluded from public life through vaccine passports. Other women who willingly got vaccinated were told they would have no effect on pregnancy and breastfeeding, but experts did not actually have the data to assert this was the case, and they still don't have it. Mandating pregnant and breastfeeding women to take an experimental medical product that had not completed clinical trials in their cohort undermined the bedrock principle of medical ethics, informed consent. The disregard for informed consent was not exclusive to mothers. It affected all women of childbearing age because regulators, doctors and officials were equally dismissive of women's concerns about menstruation. In 2021, many women noticed changes in their menstrual cycles after getting vaccinated, but health experts claimed that vaccines were not responsible. In May 2021, Dr. Paula Hillard, a pediatric and adolescent gynecologist of Stanford Children's Health, told the San Francisco Chronicle that it was biologically impossible for the vaccine to impact menstrual cycles. The virus, she claimed, was far more likely to change women's cycles. I've noticed many times that
fucking
coronavirus
gaslighting.
conveniently appears to offer up the symptoms and effects that a potentially malign vaccine or offer up. You know what COVID does now? It's myocarditis, and it makes your breast milk taste the chemicals. So far, there's no data linking the vaccines to changes in menstruation. It does seem based on the certainty of the mainstream media, when it was relevant to encourage people to get vaccines, that there's potentially a bit of an agenda here, and certainly some questions that appear to require answering. And beyond questions, trials, clinical trials that need to be undertaken in order to deduce what the truth of the situation might be. The next year, a large study in the journal Science Advances found that reports of changing cycles were far from anecdotal. 42% of women in a survey of 39,000 reported that their menstrual cycle was heavier after vaccination. In October 2022, the European Union's drug regulator recommended adding heavy periods as a side effect of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. So after an initial denial, it was demonstrably true that the denial was a little previous and ultimately untrue. It seems that what determines the narratives we're given is an agenda. This is what we would prefer. We would prefer that it didn't affect breastfeeding women, so it doesn't. We would prefer it didn't affect menstruation, so it doesn't. We would prefer that there wasn't any debate, let alone clinical trial, to oppose this agenda, so there aren't going to be any. Experts and once reputable institutions made reassurances about menstruation with zero clinical data at hand, shredding their credibility as scientific authorities. And when women first raised concerns about noticeable side effects, they were gaslit, ignored, and censored. The link between the mRNA vaccines and menstrual changes or fertility has yet to be thoroughly investigated. This question remains relevant as the FDA and CDC recommend another new COVID shot this fall.
Of course they do.
This booster has been approved without thorough human clinical trials. They're still doing it. Nevertheless, the self-proclaimed advocates for women's health and women's bodily autonomy are conspicuously absent from the conversation. It seems that as long as big pharma and legacy media are able to effectively control the conversation, there can be no dissent, there can be no opposition, there can be no no reasonable conversation in a territory and area where you would imagine that ordinarily there would be outcry and outrage about the protection of vulnerable people, and indeed who isn't vulnerable when it comes to a potentially intoxicating and, according to this, untrialed medication. The Lancet breast milk study highlights the major flaws of the COVID-19 vaccine rollout and the ensuing mandates. Government officials, esteemed medical organisations, doctors from prestigious universities and experienced journalists told pregnant and nursing women that they should all get vaccinated and that there was no cause for worry. Only malign disinformation agents, they said, would suggest that there could be any problem. Dissent is akin to disinformation. Those two terms are becoming the same. Legislation is being passed to make it impossible to discern the difference between misinformation, malinformation, and just opposing views. And dissent, this is yet another example of it. You can't have a conversation about, as we've seen earlier in the show, about Putin and whether or not Putin dabbled in previous elections. It's just passed off as a fact. Can't have a conversation about how we found ourselves supporting a proxy war between Russia and Ukraine and whether or not there were opportunities of peace that have been passed up. All of this is regarded as enabling or apologising, and the same with this issue. There is no issue where that template won't be applied. If you dissent, you'll be shut down. If you oppose, you'll be ignored. And simple and obvious basic questions about whether or not there are reliable clinical trials will cause you to be called a conspiracy theorist, when under ordinary circumstances a lack of clinical evidence to support breastfeeding mothers taking medicine will be regarded as a significant piece of information. We're going to have to leave that here on this platform and invite you to join us over on Rumble to see this video in its entirety.
Geez, if that's what he said on YouTube, how bad is it? It looks pretty bad. Looks like they knew. They did it on purpose, these sort of things.
Yeah.
And do you think they're not going to try to do it again? You don't think they're going to try to double down? It's not going to be the exact same thing. But they are very successful in their terms of what they got out of it. They got a lot of people to comply without question. And they need a certain recipe to be fulfilled for the World Economic Forum and the WHO and the CDC to have their medical emergency reason to take away your rights. And that's a problem. That's a problem for the future of humanity, not just us right now. That's a problem for future generations. And I don't want to leave them with that problem, because it happened on our watch. You know what I'm saying? And so if you look at it strategically, questioning authority, creative problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, networking, community, peace of mind, the things you needed to get through the pandemic, they don't want you to have those skills. They don't want you to know how to put those skills between your ears, to do the processing, to take the actions, to communicate with other people, to be able to get things done. They want you in panic. They want you glued to the TV. They want you dependent. And maybe you should dare yourself to take the next step. And if you like what you see and you click a button that says, you know, take me, God dang it, I'm interested. One of these buttons on the page, here's one, experience autonomy, and you go through the obstacle course. It's free. You get bonuses with it. There's a whole bunch of tools here you get with it. And you get to see if being mobile and thinking and having leadership capacities in your community, for your family, if the things that they've taken away to break the situation, I'm willing to bet if you put those things back, it rectifies the situation and allows you, calm, cool, collected, to deal with the problems, to make a plan, and to have the resources and the the internal spark to get it done. Because they want us to be in a victim modality. That's what they did during COVID. All those mothers that took that jab, that's tragic, and that's going to affect future generations. Who knows? Great grandkids from that injection might still have RNA attached in their bloodstreams. We don't know what the effects are because they haven't finished testing it yet. They've been doing real-time open air testing on people that violates the Nuremberg trials, right? I mean, we have a code of conduct to prevent medical experimentation, and they have violated it. They violated it in front of everybody.
Based on a historical precedent of eugenics. Based on a historical precedent of eugenics, instantiated an entire nation state that made it part of their practicing principles and philosophy. You know, so it's just something to be aware of. That there's a reason why historically the Nuremberg trials, generated through the Nuremberg Code of Ethics in regards to medical ethics. It's because of that situation. So the fact that we have that and it was ignored less than 70 years later, like ignored in a very conspicuous fashion, in a way that almost is, what's the word?
Too precise.
Well, certainly precise, but insulting to the public at
I
large.
think that's helpful.
Their
That's very sweet.
intelligence, their understanding and participation of freedom, you know, in the nation states that they existed in. The
Hell
freedom
yeah.
that was so egregiously and conspicuously denied, and then sort of they used as a way, sort of as a pejorative, when referenced, as though you're just a right winger, you're someone
And that's
who
meant
should
to
be
stop people
outcast.
from thinking and considering
Right.
those perspectives.
Right.
So when
And-
people lever those types of terms, they're actually cutting you off from being able to be informed.
Right.
And if people said, the people on TV don't inform me, they tell me
Actually,
about things that are going on that I have to go verify.
they said,
that's a healthy
I guess, a bunch of things I
relationship.
gotta do.
And those people might have got to the data that said, maybe I don't want to take this jab. It says here in the Moderna paperwork, it's a gene therapy. They're not saying it's a gene therapy. Why are they not telling people this, right? You'd have pause. You'd have reason for, concern. But if you don't
It
ask
should
the
have been
question, and you don't know how to think it through, and you don't have a community to bounce ideas off of, hey, do you guys
Hardcore
see
still.
any evidence of this? Am I being crazy here? What's going on?
That's
Right?
like person
And you don't
dead,
have
dude.
the network to get the resources, and here's the PubMed paper, and here's the CDC paper, and here's where they're contradicting each other. To be able to think through at a higher level, you're going to be just like the herd, getting the inoculation, because that's for the herd. They're trying to cull the herd. They've been talking about this for decades.
If
They
there's
write about it. Yeah.
If there was a free speech and a public debate, and there was no EUA, there would have been the right for people to make the choice for themselves, and it would have been hashed out through market forces. Market forces
Without the
would have brought
EUA,
to-
they would have finished testing, Tony.
Yeah, they would have had to finish testing, and it
Yeah.
probably would have never been approved based on the rigorous sort of standard.
What brings you here? Good luck, friend.
How may I help? Till next we meet.
Actually, I can afford to buy herbs now.
What brings you here?
I don't have any herbs.
Light be with you. Be careful.
I still leaves. Gotcha.
Help you find something? Light bless you.
Okay, moving on. Wait, why did my podcast stop? That's weird.
They used as a way, sort of as a pejorative, when referenced, as though you're just a right winger, you're someone
And that's
who
meant
should
to
be
stop people
outcast.
from thinking and considering
Right.
those perspectives.
Right.
So when
And-
people lever those types of terms, they're actually cutting you off from being able to be informed.
Right.
And if people said, the people on TV don't inform me, they tell me about things that are going on that I have to go verify, that's a healthier relationship. And those people might have got to the data that said, maybe I don't want to take this jab. It says here in the Moderna paperwork, it's a gene therapy. They're not saying it's a gene therapy. Why are they not telling people this, right? You'd have pause. You'd have reason for, concern. But if you don't
It
ask
should
the
have been,
question, and you don't know how to think it through, and you don't have a community to bounce ideas off of, hey, do you guys see any evidence of this? Am I being crazy here? What's going on? Right? And you don't have the network to get the resources, and here's the PubMed paper, and here's the CDC paper, and here's where they're contradicting each other. To be able to think through at a higher level, you're going to be just like the herd, getting the inoculation, because that's for the herd. They're trying to cull the herd. They've been talking about this for decades.
If
They
there's
write
a lot-
about it. Yeah.
If there was a free speech and a public debate, and there was no EUA, there would have been the right for people to make the choice for themselves, and it would have been hashed out through market forces. Market forces
Without the
would have brought
EUA,
to-
they would have finished testing, Tony.
Yeah, they would have had to finish testing, and it
Yeah.
probably would have never been approved based
Right.
on the rigorous sort of standard.
Get off again. What is that? Alright, I guess I have to play the video instead. The audio is not working.
She was interviewed by Whitney Webb because of that, because Whitney Webb's had her sort of eyesight on him as well. There's something up with the changing the regulatory standards when it comes to poisoning people, and basically there's no more. I mean, I'll just translate. There's no more market forces. Basically, they're making it so There's no real restitution. There's no reprieve. There's no way to gain any sort of compensation for damages. So the corporations feel as though they don't have to maintain any quality control. They don't have to do legitimate tests. They don't care if it's going to be something that greatly maims or destroys someone's life.
Let me pull this together for the audience then. Back in the tobacco litigation days, there was Brown and Williamson, and there was a whistleblower from there. His name was Jeffrey Wigand. Jeffrey Wigand went to Lowell Bergman, and Lowell Bergman worked for PBS Frontline or CBS or somebody, and they were going to run the story. And the lawyers came in, and they said, Black Rock, first time I ever heard Black Rock was in this movie, because it's a big thing these days, but it wasn't back then. Black Rock has killed the story, because they're the finance arm behind CBS that was doing the story, and Pacino was playing Lowell Bergman, and Bergman says, but it's true. And they said, that's the problem. The more true it is, the more damage it causes to this client. And it's called tortious interference. And it's a really interesting milieu of legalities where you're like, oh, we got you dead to rights. And you're like, and the more damage you do, the worse it's going to be for you. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, the legal system doesn't work like I thought it did. The journalism does not work like I thought it did. And that's when I was discovering it back then personally. That journalism is not what you... It is not what you see on TV. That is not what they do out there.
Tortious interference. Interesting word. It's a common law tort allowing a claim for damages against a defendant who wrongfully interferes with the plaintiff's contractual or business relationships. Wow.
So if somebody comes along and messes with your business, tortious interference is a claim you can bring. And under that, if they've damaged your business, then you have evidence of that, and you can litigate and adjudicate such matters in a civil way. That's how that works. Yeah. All right, so I was going to play this short Jimmy Dore clip, but I'm going to save it because I feel like we're running late already with our guest and everything. 2 guests tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going next to this clip. Let me get the title of it. This clip is titled, We Are the Evidence. These are COVID-19 vaccine injured people who recently went to a retreat and got some help, and it's beautifully filmed, and it's a very moving piece of content. It's only 15 minutes. It's going to feel longer than 15 minutes. Your emotions might get stirred up, and we're going to have the filmmaker on for a couple minutes right after we play this, and then I'll let him get back to his family, but he was gracious enough to share the clip with me, and then when I said, if you made this, I want you to come on the show and talk about it. So Kevin Larson's going to be here tonight. Let's go ahead, LD, and play this clip. This is titled, We Are the Evidence, and it currently lives on Rumble, because that's the only place it can live. Can't be on YouTube.
Trying to change my toolbar. These look like 8s and 6. Fuck. How do you change this shit? Oh, fuck. Not that one.
My name is Cody. I got the Pfizer COVID-19 mRNA vaccine.
There we go. I can actually read that.
Before my vaccine injury, I was a barista, and I used to run 5 miles a day, 5 days a week.
Damn, dude. Sad story already.
Free climbing. I was extremely active, and my life fell apart very quickly and suddenly when I developed a pulmonary embolism.
Yeah.
I was hospitalized for it.
You survived at least, though.
Was told I had 3 days to live.
Oh.
So I was dying in the hospital, and they weren't doing much to help me.
My name's Hetty Samoes, and
I'm Adalia Samoes, her husband.
Unfortunately, we were tragically impacted by the Pfizer vaccine. Our 34-year-old son took the vaccine on April 20th, 2021, and on the morning of the 16th day, he passed away. He died suddenly.
My name's Michelle Utter. Before COVID, I worked on a surgical nursing unit. Mandates were starting to come out, so I went ahead and did it because it helped me keep my job. Pfizer has given me the biggest nightmare of my life. I'm on disability now. This month actually makes 27 months that I go to an infusion center. And I have to sit there 6 to 10 hours and be infused with IVIG. That's Gamma Guard. And if it wasn't for my insurance, there'd be no way that I could afford it. I would have to give it up and I would be in a wheelchair in the worst case scenario.
My mother is helping these people constantly on the phone and trying to connect them to the resources they need. And sometimes they call her up and they're suicidal even, and she has to talk them down. So this event is all about just trying to give a safe space.
I'm Kimberly Biss. I'm an OBGYN and I practice in St. Petersburg, Florida. I have been trying to get the word out through several venues that these shots never should have been given to pregnant women, let alone anybody else. I just wanted everybody to gather together and know that you're real, you exist, your story's real, and you're around like-minded people.
So many of us lose hope, lose faith, and we just don't want to do this anymore. We want to give up. We all have to fight together and work together. I even went and got Adam Rowland from the UK because he sat in a room and his government abandoned him and wouldn't treat him.
And then they've said to me in the UK that, you know, there's not really much they can do, just painkilling medications for my heart, and just treating me palliatively. So I spent like the last 12 months, like I say, stuck in my house mainly. Met a lot of friends online in the US and around the world, and came to the US really. They came and got me in the UK.
And we are two parents who lost a child, but we know many other people that could no longer live with the symptoms that they were experiencing on a daily basis and committed suicide. It's horrible what's out there. And it's all still being suppressed for the most part.
The biggest thing that has struck me is, with my story, what happened to me, I've got pages and pages of documented evidence. In the UK, I contacted 115 mainstream media journalists. I got about 10 replies to my story. I got 3 or 4 that just said, you know, really sorry it's happened to you, but we're not allowed to report on it. It's too sensitive a subject.
I know doctors that showed me their letters that they received that they should not speak against the vaccine, otherwise they would lose their positions because it was misinformation.
I'm erased from work, and I'm erased from society, basically, because the government has left us abandoned. A lot of us are losing every single thing that we have. We've used all of our savings.
I lost my house, my wife, my whole career's gone. I had to move in with my elderly mother, who was basically my semi-carer. I had carers for a time. I previously worked for 17 years in professional sport as head of medical and a consultant to professional sports teams and some high-profile golfers on the PGA Golf Tour. Never had any complications or anything medical before. A whole 12 months after the vaccine, I collapsed with 3 pulmonary embolisms in my lungs and hundreds of tiny clots in my lungs. So this has all been documented and evidenced by 5 independent consultants and professors that it's all been caused by the vaccine.
Also, when we looked at his own lot, EW0162, it had over 2,000 adverse events and 30 deaths. And then what really puzzled me was when I started looking at his lot, it was not just in the state where he passed away. It was dispersed throughout the country, which leads me to believe that they did it purposely so there wouldn't be a cluster, so that people would not catch on as quickly that there was a problem.
This is about our vaccine injured. This is about all the people We've been violated by this massive global poisoning that appears to have been perpetrated purposefully. I'm honored to stand with you and for you. The Martins lost a beautiful daughter. There's one amongst them that is no longer with us because of the corrupt healthcare system.
On November 9th of 2022, my beautiful 18-year-old daughter was murdered by Pfizer.
This is pretty epic.
She woke up
Epic. What's the
that
word?
morning,
Heavy. Pretty heavy.
and she said she was having problems breathing and that her whole body hurt. And that she was going to lay back down and see if she felt better. And she never woke up again. There was no mandate that forced her to get the shot. She was about to start college. She wanted to go to concerts and not have to wear a mask. And she thought mom and dad were dumb.
Everyone else was telling her it was safe and effective. We were the only ones telling her not to do it, and so she secretly did it.
When the mandates came through, they forced vaccination against termination, hard termination date. In 2018, I just had a baby girl, my first baby girl. So that's what was weighing on my mind heavily, kind of. But for the most part, I don't want to lose my job. So I got vaccinated April of 2021, and a month and a half after I got the first vaccine, it was symptom onset. Took another couple months. In December was the first doctor that I met that would actually talk to me about it. And he, first thing he did was take x-rays of my lungs, and microclots just wrapped my lungs like spaghetti noodles. It was horrible. 2 months of those treatments, lungs cleared, still didn't really help anything. Still got massive pain everywhere. Can't regulate
Seriously?
any of my temperatures, my thyroid. I go massive sweats to massive chills.
Nope.
And before that, I played minor league ball out of Birmingham. My wife's a nurse. She's a huge vaccine advocate. She's not so much anymore. Unfortunately, she doesn't think the vaccine even to this day, had anything to do with what I'm going through. She thinks that I just hurt myself when I was young, and now it's coming to fruition, which is insane.
Bad.
She was with me. I've been with her since 2011, and so she knows. Doesn't mean that it don't hurt. That I can't openly talk about what's going on, and my stepdaughter, my oldest, affected as well, and we don't talk.
I'm bored of this. Yes, people got vaccinated. Moving on. Let's see. We'll see.
Life, fear,
I'm
existential
bored.
thing that they put between families, and they drew their lines of health to Wuhan and all these things.
I'm bored, I think. I did try, though. I did try to listen to some crazy conspiracy podcast. What are you doing, bitch? Come on here and play. Come on, you come out here and play. Come on. Oh, you fucking serious. Hey, hi! Where the fuck you come from? This bitch. Sir, you're playing fire. Shit, wrong button. I take candle. What is this? Armor reduced. Let's wait for that. Yeah, did it. Kind of going there just far enough so I can get this quest done and leave. There's a chest though. How the fuck? Didn't even move or anything. I'm glad I didn't aggro that. I better. Sells for silver. Gotta get rid of something. Let's see what she said. Damn, dude. Oh, fuck it. We're gonna go for it. Big pimpin'. Come on, attack him. We're getting the fuck out of here. Zoom, zoom. Yeah, the wolf just keeps coming this way. too scared of that. No shots yet. There we go. I found a body out here. Right around like here, Zone died last time. Hmm. There's a patrol, there's a patrol, there's a patrol. Come on. Not fucking with that. No siree. I've learned my lesson. Oh shit, nope. 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 Shit. I'm good now. But my squirrely wrath. Fuck yeah. Fuck this place. I'm fucking out. Eat. Oh man.
Greetings. Hello. Have a good one. Good day to you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
What can I do for you?
I'm very sleepy.
What are you looking for?
Need some bags.
Have a good one.
Hmm. Jesus. Where'd that person go? Wow. Cool. Thanks for the buff. This shell looks crazy. Bro. Cool.
Hey there. Farewell.
This person. I had to join the Dude's Guild.
How kind of you.
Jesus Christ, I kept asking people. How's that person's 4 only 3? The other person was 10. Can't regret my decision. Oh well. What a slow day.
How are you?
It's only 2 swords. Sounds lame. I could buy the King's Blood. 140. Yeah, I did it.
Safe travel.
Oh shit, hi, bear. Bad bear. That bear fucked me up. I didn't realize it. How much health did the bear have? Doesn't say. No. You say no? Wow, what a dick. Hmm. Well, yeah. Oh no, keep attacking. What the? Dude. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah. That's all. Why do you do that? Like, that's clearly fine. Hmm.
What can I do for you? Go with honor.
I'm debating. That was a big ass hit. piece of shit. Took all that out of me to kill a single bear. If I got 2 guys on me, I'm probably gonna die. I'm so sleepy. There's a bear. Ooh, I should make a people character named Amanda. Damn, I really need to get on that. Well, seriously, what? Bear 2? Bro.
Need help?
More work? No one else available?
You need something?
I am a sleepy panda bear. Going to get bears, I just don't care. Let's see. Wood. There's a herb. I shall go after the herb. This will let's get so the herbs. Nah. Where the fuck did the guy even come from? Fucking serious. Fucking crit hard. Bro, die. Holy shit. Health these guys have. Not worth it. Oh. Maybe it is. I use this guy to kill them. Good thing I didn't go. That guy just spawned. That'd be certain death for me. Or just spawned. This guy's just chilling here. Man, it'd be kind of cool if hardcore you like dropped Lee when he died. Inspect his gear. What a range. Hmm. He's got good pants. Way better pants I got. 6 of 12 damage. What do I have? 713, so mine's better. At least in my own mind, it is. No. Fuck Jack, he says. Come on, aggro these guys. Ah, don't run away. Fuck. I want him to aggro these guys so I can lose his fucking chest. I'm toxic. Alright. Look for wood, I guess. That was really slow about going for the backstab. It's kind of like NPC behavior. He is also looting really fast too, isn't he? Is this real? Is this a real guy? What's the damn wood out? Seriously. What's that for being toxic? Wait a second. Can I? Holy shit. You got it. I should have waited. Dude, loot everything. Whatever. All right, now, girlfriend. No. 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 No means no. I'm trying to just stupid ass quest. Girlfriend. I said no. Here. You can sit over here, alright? Where'd that priest go? Did they die? Hmm. Oh shit, I think they died. Damn, dude. We're just gonna find their body. Well then, that's shit. Let's one pick up this quest or rather turn it in. There's wood. Oh, you don't, bitch. Okay, yes you do. Let's see. Oh god. Oh man, this stuff's brutal. Fucking serious, man. Dude, oh my god, I just want to finish this goddamn quest. No, no. Please don't aggro. The fuck? Brutal fuck! Oh, I didn't work along with it. God, I just want to finish this stupid quest. The one time I almost get it done. This is the fucking worst. Are you still alive? No, no. No, 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 no! Fucking bullshit. I'm so far away. I should wait for the potion. I'm gonna play a different game now. Yeah. I'm gonna play Dark and Darker, I think. There we go. We now have a... Oh, it's a warrior. Fuck. I won't... Wonderful. There we go. Fuck. Wait, what? I got heard. Yeah. This character's gonna get some risk experience, and I'll play with him later. Alright, different game.